Welcome everybody to Rebound and Recover Innovation Showcase. I'm Carrie, your MC for today. Thank you for taking your lunchtime to join us. Some housekeeping rules before we begin. Do keep your mics muted during the program. This session will also be recorded. For any questions during the Q&A, you can type it into the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom bar. Instructions for Q&A will be given later. I would like to share some information about the Open Innovation Platform. We are a virtual crowdsourcing platform that bridges real business challenges or digitalization opportunities of enterprises to tech firms. Challenges hosted on the OIP are supported by a structured innovation process, including refinement, curation, and scouting of solvers. Problem owners gain access to a diverse pool of solvers, both locally and regionally, while tech firms receive capability support for evaluation and prototyping. Innovation calls are launched every few months, and each call comprises of a set of challenges from different problem owners from different sectors. Our next call will be launched on 11 November for problem owners. Let us now watch a video about the Open Innovation Platform.
The economy of the future is digital, and innovation will be a key driver. So how do we accelerate the pace of innovation and digitalization to give our enterprises a competitive edge? The Open Innovation Platform, or OIP, is an initiative by the IMDA. It is a virtual platform that connects and matches challenges of problem owners such as SMEs, large enterprises, and government agencies to a pool of problem solvers with different expertise. This is Sarah. She is the Chief Innovation Officer of Company A. She would like to find innovative digital solutions to address her company's business challenge. She discusses her challenge with an IMDA officer and explains what she's looking for. IMDA then helps to launch Sarah's challenge through the OIP, allowing her to access a diverse pool of ideas and technology expertise immediately. Problem solvers around the world can see Sarah's challenge on the OIP, and those with the right capabilities for Sarah's challenge apply through the portal. Sarah and IMDA jointly evaluate, shortlist, and select the best solution from Company Y. Eric is the founder of Company Y. He works with Sarah to turn his idea into a working prototype that is demonstrated and tested in Sarah's facility. Sarah is happy with the successful prototype and awards Eric with prize monies. Sarah and Eric partner to commercialize the solution and roll it out across Southeast Asia. Sarah increases the productivity of a company's operations, while Eric scales up his product successfully with this new customer reference. With the Open Innovation Platform, we have an innovation ecosystem that is always open for all enterprises, large and small. Join us on the Open Innovation Platform.
So that was a video about our OIP. Today's event, COVID-19 has reshaped the world in many ways, especially so in how businesses are run. I'm sure many of you joining us today are here to seek ways on how enterprises can leverage technology for growth opportunities and to build resilience in your business and industries. Rebound and Recover is the first of its series, the Innovation Showcase, created for problem owners and businesses, bringing together problem solvers to share on their technology, and together we can learn how to build resilient businesses. Today's program is as such. We will now show it on screen. We will hear welcome remarks from SBF, followed by keynote sharing from Toby Ko of homegrown SME Ademco on how they navigated their digitalization journey, supporting a quicker and more resilient recovery amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Then we'll hear from 6 companies with ready-to-deploy innovative solutions curated to drive resilience and business growth for enterprises. Some of today's presenting companies are accreditation at SGD under the accreditation at SGD program and or the Pixel Incubator. Accreditation at SGD Digital was launched in July 2014 to accelerate the growth of these promising Singapore-based tech companies to establish credentials, build business traction, grow and compete in the global market as accreditation opens up more opportunities for their products to be showcased and bought. For buyers from the government and large enterprises, this process provides an independent third-party evaluation of the company's claimed product core functionalities and abilities to deliver. As for the Pixel Incubator Program, Pixel offers incubation to high potential Singaporean ICM startups. To qualify, the startup should have at least a team of 3 to 5 packs, have at least 30% local ownership, and our next call for incubation will be in August for companies working on an innovative product that utilizes emerging technologies such as 5G, VR, AR, AI, or blockchain. Companies can sign up for the Pixel mailing list to be notified. Let's begin. I see Janet is here to join us. To kickstart our program today, we'll be inviting Janet Ang, the chairman of SBF Digitalisation Committee, to give us our welcome remarks. So Janet, over to you.
Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Carrie. So ladies and gentlemen, very nice to see all of you online. I guess, yeah, this is indeed unprecedented times that we are all living in. So on behalf of the Singapore Business Federation's Digitalisation Committee, where I'm the chair, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the OIP Multiply SBF Innovation Showcase 2020. We certainly hope this will be a amplification and a multiplication platform, for businesses and for technology providers and innovators to find new ways of doing things, leveraging on what might be a negative situation that we are all faced with, but hopefully with an optimistic view of what the future could be shaped into. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has indelibly changed the way many businesses operate. And to remain relevant and to stay ahead of the competition, business leaders are encouraged to ride the digital wave and adapt, transform, and seize new opportunities through digitalization. Now, we have organized this Rebound and Recover innovation series with the IMDA to encourage businesses to explore and adopt ready to deploy innovative solutions for business transformation and resilience. Through today's session, you will get to hear from Toby Koh. Toby, thank you very much for joining us, the Group Managing Director at Ademco Group Security, on how he has spearheaded the digital transformation movement in his company and how technology has helped to sustain his business during this challenging period. Now, in addition, you will have an opportunity to explore a variety of innovative solutions that can help you, from intelligent parcel tracking to smart worksite inspection and monitoring solutions. If you are interested in adopting them, we encourage you to reach out to the companies after today's session. And I thank all the companies who are participating in this afternoon's event. Now, so in closing, I would like to express our appreciation to IMDA for collaborating with SBF on many fronts, such as through the SBF SMEs Go Digital Industry Forums and the annual Future Economy Conference and Exhibition. Now, may we continue to strengthen our partnership and organize more events to help businesses to digitalize, transform, and be more innovative. For those who are interested in innovation activities, we are organizing the Innovation Thursday Forum in August and a Design Thinking Workshop in October. More details will be released closer to the date, so look out for that. Last but not least, a big thank you to all of you for participating and joining us here today. I wish all of you a fruitful time learning more from Mr. Toby Koh, and of course, every success in transforming and making your business future ready. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Janet. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Next up, we have our keynote speaker, as mentioned, Mr. Toby Koh, Group Managing Director of Ademco Security Group. He will be sharing a bit more about how his business has actually transformed right through the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's give him a warm welcome. Toby, over to you.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here, SBF and IMDA. It's a privilege to be here to share, our challenges in the journey that Ademco has taken, right, to go through our digital transformation. And I hope that, at the end of my sharing, the audience is going to get a little bit of takeaway, right? But first of all, I just want to say I'm not a guru. I'm just a fellow Singaporean who's an entrepreneur, a business owner, and I'm just sharing our journey. So We are also in very, very difficult times, right? I mean, the whole is in difficult times. And we're just another entrepreneur trying to battle the COVID-19 virus. First of all, I just want to say that a little bit of context on Ademco would be that we're Singapore-based. We're present in 7 countries. We're involved in security technology, IoT, smart cities. So our client base will be anything from government, small to large businesses, right? So one of the key things, right, is about, why we think that, businesses and especially SMEs need to go digital, right? And there's a lot of real challenges. And, I'm going to share over the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, what are the challenges and, how we try to face it, me and my team. Can we have the next slide, please? I love this quote. In good times, everyone thinks that, oh, it's fine, we've got strategy, we have a plan. But as Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until we get punched in the face, right? Next slide, please. So what's a resilient business model? I think that, in our context, I'm sure that a lot of us have gone through all these economic cycles, right, through the years. 4 big economic crises over the last, 20 years or so. So one of the key things that we did was we wanted to use diversification as a risk management strategy. And we think that digital transformation from very early on was a very key part of being resilient. And of course, the last thing would be business continuity planning. In good times, I think one of the big issues that we face would be we don't really think about what might happen, worst case scenarios and stuff. But as business owners, as in management teams, it's always good to have a healthy sense of paranoia. Next, please. Next slide, please. So I think that, in this COVID crisis, famously said by the CEO of Microsoft, we saw 2 years of digital transformation in just 2 months. So I think that it's an incredible opportunity to change our team's mindset. It is one of the most difficult things to do, to change people's mindset. And with this COVID-19 opportunity, I say, we should use this opportunity to try and change it as quickly as we can for the future survivability of our companies. Next, please. So the first case study I want to talk about is internal case study about how we had actually gone into and used the Salesforce.com platform about 10, 11 years ago. So all business owners would probably share the same sentiment that the challenges in implementing anything that's new is going to be a very few key things. First thing would be, the mindset of our team. A lot of people just don't like change, right? Most human beings don't like change. They're fearful of change. So that is something that, we need to try and rally the team to try and get over it. And the other part would be, there's obviously going to be a large investment, perhaps, probably a little bit better now because a lot of it will be service, software as a service and digital solutions as a service. But there's going to be an investment, not just in upfront cash, but, in the time and resources spent in the digital transformation. I think there is no choice and we have to do it. Next slide, please. So
Awesome.
one of our strategies when we were launching this, right, and this was in 2009. So imagine 10, 11 years ago, the cloud solutions was still something which there were a lot of naysayers saying that it's not going to be reliable, there are going to be issues, there's going to be security concerns and stuff. So what was our strategy? First of all, as a business owner, I always realize, Ademco is not a one-man team, right? We've got 500 old people across our group. I needed to select champions. There has got to be champions that's going to go out there and lobby all the my colleagues. All my colleagues need to be lobbied. And on top of that, reiterating the values and the benefit, both on an individual basis and also on a company level, is extremely important for us to be able to drive this thing through. Just a sharing of an individual benefit would be, because we have Salesforce.com, all the data, the knowledge base, the data is in Salesforce.com. Now it becomes very handy for any one of my colleagues to be able to tap into the information, right? So it's very convenient. They do not have to travel. In the old days, right? You would travel back to the office to pick up another piece of paper or some information. But with cloud, with information on demand, there is no longer that reason to do so. So there's a lot of convenience on an individual basis. On a company level, the fact that, Salesforce.com, even back in those days, was used by probably 90% of the Fortune 500 companies. The team realized that this was a major step to use tools which have benefited very, very large organizations, and that even in our smaller scale, we'll be able to benefit from it. So we had to fight the naysayers. Unfortunately, in any team, there are always going to be naysayers, but one of the things which I always look out for would be, let's try and get more than 50% of my colleagues on board, because if we have more than half on board, the chance of success would actually be very high. Next thing would be, we tried to create and position it such that it becomes a source of pride, that the company is going through digital transformation, it is using good tools, is using state-of-the-art technology, and that gave us, and the team a source of pride that we are ahead in the transformation curve, in the technology curve. And I think that also, it also helps to rally the team together on that point. So the key to survival is obviously resilience. It's always business continuity. It is planning for all these things. So we have to use digital, in order to survive a little better, especially in such days. One of the key takeaways from my team was, hey, wow, since we're all in cloud solutions, then we can work very flexibly. We don't have to come back to the office all the time. We have all the tools that we need. We can be working out from McDonald's using free Wi-Fi, or from the Starbucks and using their free Wi-Fi. So anywhere that we've got a digital connection, we can work from there. And the last part was, to some of my colleagues who are a little bit more green, they really like this because they say, hey, it helps us to go green because we don't have to print all those carbon papers and signing service reports when we're out in the field. Engineers just bring their tablets out there and have it executed online and save a few trees along the way. Next, please. So anyways, the current status of this is that, we've deployed it over 7 countries. It has become the norm and has increased a lot of efficiency, right? Because the cost, even just traveling, there is no need for so much travel anymore. So cost has come down. We do not need to go out there and try and dig up for more information because it's available on demand, and productivity goes up too. So with the Salesforce.com platform, we feel that, it is a very good platform for us to continue to value add, not just to our customers, to our teams, our company, and our shareholders also. And very importantly is that now we have full visibility. We know exactly what our pipeline is like. We know exactly each one, of our accounts. What's the status, service tracking, marketing, sales, technical support, engineering. All the information is all collated on the platform. And it has really helped us, especially in such a COVID situation, because we were already on cloud. It was easy to work from home. So that's the end of my first case study. And before I move on to the next case study, which is talking about how we help our customers on a digital transformation journey, I'd like to just show you a short video on what our concept on digital transformation for the security industry is like.
Security guard. That is my job. That time SME dia behel mah. Then baru kena retrench. Government say don't retire so early. Oh, young leh, xiong bro. Ask me every day walk up, walk down. Then I got this friend. Now he tell me, brother, keep yourself fit. Fit. Hey, see my own stomach? Fit not? You take a break. What say? Everybody notice what you do.
Hey, walao! This uncle forever sleeping one when walk past.
They think we all security guard can solve everything.
Uncle, here got what passcode issue? Uncle, I lost my mommy. Uncle, I lost my wallet. Uncle, lost my girlfriend. Oh God, I lost my girlfriend.
I'm sorry, sir. You cannot park your car here, no? Koala. Hours are super long. 12 hours, no, bro. 6 days a week. And then one day, I received a letter. And then the letter, they put the word restructure. Restructure what? Calling, oh. This is spelling mistake, mesti restructure. Calling is retrench. 这摆啊，慢慢接到假钞了。Found out this restructure actually turned out to be very good, no?
Hi, Mr. Singh.
This is from Ademco Command Center. There is a suspicious crack at zone 5.
Yes, I'm looking at it now.
Hey, you, stop that. Identify yourself now.
If I want any information, they just come to update me. I don't have to go and look for them.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Any advice on further action?
Yeah, I think we should file a police report.
Sure, we'll update you again in 10 minutes.
Steady, I feel I'm much more valued by the company. And you know what? I'm starting to feel more appreciated at work these days. What you're doing right now is actually of high value to the company.
Use our skills, not sweat. Every time talk about smart nation. Like this, then you call smart.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. A little history on that video. We commissioned that video about 3 years ago, and it was in an attempt to try and lobby building owners and asset owners and property managers and security, the security industry, to try and use security officers in the right way, to use their skills, right, and not their sweat. So we wanted everyone to consider how they can improve and use digital technology to try and improve their processes, reduce costs, and also increase the levels of security in their place. Sorry, next slide, please. Thank you. So we believe that it is extremely important to help our customers transform digitally and engage them also digitally. So for example, in the recent case with COVID lockdown, a lot of the security officers in Singapore were actually Malaysians. So they couldn't come back to Malaysia. They had to, they chose to stay back in Malaysia. They couldn't come back to Singapore. And there was a shortage of security officers on the ground. So we already know that there was a shortage in Singapore for security officers. And this exacerbated the problem. So what do? We had to go ahead and use digital transformation and try and convince our customers to use remote monitoring instead. So the second case study that I would like to share is talking about how we held the hands and we worked together with a local leading bank to resolve and help them transform the security protocol. So what was the problem with the banks? So the problem statement was very simply, there was a very large recurring cost for security, right? Before they started, the security, putting in the security solution, they had to invest large capex. And there was also a very unacceptable risk window. When an alarm goes off, say in an ATM machine, it might take them, the security officers, anything from half an hour to 45 minutes to get to site to see what's happening, to do a risk assessment. And there were a lot of operational inefficiencies. If something happens at an ATM, they would literally have to go back and shut the ATM down, get a copy of the video recording out, and do the investigations. So that was not very efficient. Next slide, please. So what was the strategy? So what we did was we helped the bank to reframe that problem statement to the stakeholders in the bank. It was not just about cost, right? It's accumulation of a lot of different factors. It was about cost, it's about capex spend, it's about the long-term recurring costs that was going to be essential for the running of the security team and for the security solutioning. So we had to reiterate and hold the hands of the bank and the stakeholders to say, hey, look, this is the value and the benefit for going digital. So we work very, very closely in order to make sure that the storyline to the top management in the bank was aligned with the security team in the bank. Next slide, please. So what was the solution? So essentially what we did was, we moved on to a managed service model. We told the bank, we said, hey, look, why don't we retransform? Let's go in there and put, new equipment in. Let's make sure that, we've got remote video monitoring capabilities so that when something happens at the site, we can within a minute or two have eyes on site. So the bank saw a lot of value in it because it reduces their risk window from maybe half an hour to 2 minutes. So, and we've got a very effective law enforcement agency in Singapore. The Singapore Police Force, generally would be able to arrive at site within 10 minutes if there is a verified condition. So one of the key things that, was extremely important also was, it wasn't just about security. It's about how we could help with our digital transformation to help them increase operational efficiencies. For example, somebody has a case they need to investigate. Now there is no need to go down there and shut down the ATM and turn it off. It would inconvenience the customer. There is time, there's manpower costs involved, a lot of resources to do an investigation. With remote technology, with a good connection, over fiber, over 4G and upcoming 5G, we could do all these things remotely. There is no need for human intervention in such cases. We even use things like video analytics, facial recognition to try to identify cases whereby, maybe there is going to be something wrong. Is there abnormal human behavior? For example, most of us may go to an ATM machine once a day, max, right? Most of us would go to ATM machine maybe a couple of times a week. But if somebody comes to an ATM machine 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a day, then that's a leading indicator for us to take a look, at the situation and figure out why is this person actually going around to the ATM machines several times a day? Are there real transactions that are actually being performed? So with data, with technology, with AI, it helps the customer, the bank, to flag out potential risks. And that helps them to manage their risks, in this situation. Next page, please. So the current status is the bank's capex went pretty much to zero. The recurring costs fell significantly. Risk window shortened by up to 80% on average. And efficiencies, bank's customer satisfaction grew. And it was a very, very good journey to help the customer transform from a very traditional type of security management to a modernized security management. And if you look at the industry transformation map that the government has put up on the security industry, this is exactly what they're rooting for. This is a way to use more technology so that we can ease up on that very, very high demand on security officers that are needed on the ground. Really, why do we need security officers to continue patrolling the building, right? Every hour? Is there really a need? If the building was well secured with access control, with CCTV, with intelligent video, hey, there's probably really no need for constant patrolling by security officers. So let's use their skills and not their sweat. Can we go on to the last slide, please? So I think that it is extremely important for each one of us, business owners and management team, to try and figure out how the digital transformation can help us and also help, our customers. And when we help our customers go on a digital transformation journey, you can be very sure that they'll be very connected to us, and that is going to be also the sticky factor to engaging them on a long-term basis. So at this time, especially with COVID crisis, we need to be at our best when times like there was. So stay safe. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the time that we've had today. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you so much. Right now, thank you for the insightful presentation. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Right now, we'll move on to the presenters. We have 6 companies presenting on how their technology can help create resilience in your business. If you have any questions for these companies, you can use the Q&A box at the bottom. Please follow the instructions on the screen. Type your question into the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen and indicate by number, #number, which company your question is intended for. So the first 3 companies, will take questions for them after the 3 of them are done. For questions for Manifera, please key in #1 followed by your question. For Parcel Perform, #2. For Tech Vans, #3. We'll have a Q&A session after the 3 presentations are done, and we'll try to accommodate all your questions, but we may not be able to address them due to time constraints. If so, we'll take the questions after the event and we'll try to answer them then. Yeah. Let's welcome our first speaker. Manifera is an international company providing bespoke software development services. Presenting for Manifera today is a director, Harry Rolofink. Can we welcome them? Yeah. Harry, over to you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you so much, IMDA and SBF as well for having me here and allowing Manifera to showcase our services to the listeners. Also, thank you very much to the listeners for taking your time to attend these sessions. So let me start with sharing my screen. Okay, let me continue. Yes, so I'm the director of Manifera Software Development. I'm already 12 years living here with my family in Singapore. And we, from Manifera, we are developing bespoke software solutions for which I will share a couple of use cases with you. So these topics we will go through in this session. So let's directly talk a little bit more about Manifera. We are an international software development company providing bespoke software development services to our clients. And that is actually in comparison to off-the-shelf tools and software applications you buy, we always make dedicated applications for our customers. And with that, exactly covering the requirements and the needs of our customers. So that's quite a big difference with off-the-shelf tools, which you cannot tailor and you have to take it as it is. Our services are actually consisting of 3 main pillars. The first one is the e-commerce platform and a web shop development pillar. The second one is web application development. And the last one is mobile application development. And in many projects, we use a combination of these 3 pillars. Some of our clients, well, what the takeaway from here, this slide is that we are actually working and helping both startups, SMEs, MNCs, and also government-related institutes. Just a little bit about our process. It's quite straightforward. After we get aligned on the proposal and quotation and contract topics. We will start the project, and the main thing about this project is that during the design and development, we using an agile Scrum approach. And this means that you as a client will get each 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you will get updates of the application we are developing for you. So in that way you can keep a close eye and a close look on the progress. And another key thing to mention is that after we done with the development and we have gone live, we will also do service and maintenance for this application so that we can keep the system up and running for you, and even perhaps add new features. So let's go into a couple of our projects and use cases. This first one is a project we have actually won a United Nations e-commerce challenge. And while winning that challenge, we got to develop a full-scale marketplace for the Pacific Ocean region. And the main challenge in that region was that there are a lot of small merchants who actually do not have IT staff, nor do have the budget to create their own web shops. So instead, this marketplace is allowing all those small merchants, and of course also the bigger merchants, to come on board of this marketplace, and in that way adding a new sales channel to their existing sales channels. So as you can see, this is a full-blown marketplace, but of course we also develop smaller web shops for individual companies, whereby we are using their branding and their requirements and wishes to make a dedicated web shop for our individual customer. Let's go to the second use case. This is a service matching platform, and the challenge here was that a lot of customers, client or households in this region, they were looking for reliable and eco-friendly service providers, and service providers like cleaners, like gardeners, etc. So for our client, we created and developed this web application, plus also mobile phone applications. And inside this application, there are a lot of smart algorithms to match the households together with the service providers like the cleaners, to do this in an efficient and eco-friendly way. Okay, let's go to a fintech use case for a client in the region of Southeast Asia. We have created a loan application platform. Here the challenge was that for many small-time farmers, in this case in Vietnam, it is very hard for those farmers to get small bank loans from banks. So our client, a startup, has foreseen in this need, and together with him we have developed this loan application whereby a lot of things in relation to the application are automated directly with the bank loan systems. And at the same time, the farmers can also order their fertilizer needs for the farms to be it in everything in an efficient mobile application. So this consists of a mobile application and also a web admin portal and an interesting backend with a lot of logic as well. So let's go to a more creative application. For this client, we have who was actually looking for to bond more with their clients. So this company, Havo, is actually producing creative paints, and papers and glues, etc. for the hobby market. So they wanted to bond more with them, and for that purpose, we made a mobile application whereby their clients can easily scan their barcodes of the products they have bought, and then they will get a lot of information and creative tips what they all can do with their products. So this is a nice community bonding kind of application. The next one, this is in the yes, in the publishing sector. Well, as the challenge here is that for many publishers, the sales of the physical copies of magazines, they are decreasing already quite some years. So what is better for them than to go digital? And we are helping here a startup who is actually working with SPH to get many of the articles of the physical magazines into this digital platform, whereby for the users, we are creating a nice personalized experience to easily read those magazines articles. So this is also consisting of a web application and a mobile phone application. So here we have a pilot project. This is based on blockchain technology. This is for insurance claims to make that more efficient. So for car owners, whenever they have an accident, they can easily upload their claim. They can easily align and work together with the workshop to bring a quote inside the system in an semi-automated way. And the insurance company can then actually say, okay, give an okay to this claim, and then the workshop can go ahead with the repairs. So this is a very efficient application based on blockchain. So here we have a kind of different use case. This is for productizing a proof of concept, as this was developed by TNO. TNO is like the A-star of the Netherlands. And we had to productize this application for them, whereby we stabilized it, and we are still adding more features, and we're doing the service and maintenance for them. This is another use case of a matching platform, but in this case, it's about matching cybersecurity related services with companies and other people who would like to make use of those services. And this is done in an efficient way with a lot of intelligent algorithms inside and a big database. So yeah, to summarize, so Manifera, we are making bespoke software applications exactly according to your needs and to your wishes and to your requirements. And we are doing that in multiple verticals. And we are doing that for both web applications, desktop applications, and also mobile applications. So guys, I say thank you very much for listening and taking the time for this. If you have questions, just ask during the session later or approach me afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you so much. Now, if you have questions for Harry, please put them into the Q&A box at the bottom with the number #1 before your question, so we can take them during the Q&A later. Our next speaker is Dana von der Heide, the founder and CCO of Parcel Perform, the leading carrier independent parcel tracking service. So I'll hand over to Dana.
Yeah, thank you so much. A real pleasure being here. Thank you so much for having me. Today I want to take the opportunity to talk about a bit of a different topic. So we are at Parcel Perform. We are a software provider, but as you would see on the left-hand side, my background is actually in logistics. So as many of you are operating a business that requires you to send either your goods or pieces or finished goods or e-commerce even to end consumers or other businesses, we at Parcel Perform became kind of almost obsessed with the opportunity to give everyone a better experience when we talk about deliveries of pallets, parcels, or anything you can think about. And my background is actually in DHL. So I worked there for more than 6 years in global strategy roles. And I was basically talking to many customers, big and small, and all of them had the same challenge. They all wanted to make sure that their clients know when their deliveries are arriving, because that is a very critical part that you often cannot control, as mostly the logistics companies are handling that last mile delivery experience. But at the same time, if a parcel or a good is not arriving at your end consumer or at the businesses that you're working with, they often come to you to ask for questions. And that's really what we wanted to solve at Parcel Perform, where we are basically making sense of logistics data. So we set out to aggregate and standardize logistics data across more than 600 different carriers, and you would see just a few of them down here. And obviously, we made sure that everyone that we have in Singapore, but also all the neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, across Malaysia, Thailand, but Europe as well as the US, we have integrated all these logistics providers, and we are actually able to provide you and your customers with an update of where your deliveries are at any given point of time. Perform as a business, we started about 5 years ago, and we are based in Singapore and proudly working very closely with a lot of clients here in Singapore, big and small, but also are fully IMDA accredited and supported by SG Digital as well. Right. Let's also look quickly at the customers that we are working with, just to give you an impression. Naturally, we put a lot of big names out here. You might know quite a few of them, but I think the key point here is, again, that we work with everyone regardless of their size. So especially even if you are smaller businesses, you know, having a good customer experience and telling your clients what's happening to their deliveries becomes even more crucial. So we're working with Singapore companies, Love Bonito here in Singapore, for example, on the fashion side, but really everyone that is delivering things to businesses or the end consumers can use us to make sure that everyone knows what's going on in their delivery and has a much better experience. So I think talking about experience, I quickly wanted to take the opportunity to give you a feel of what exactly are we talking about. So if we look at the right-hand side of my slides, there's, especially if you're in e-commerce, there's a process that you can often very well control, which is when a customer is ordering something, or kind of the process until you hand over your parcel, your pallet, or the truck is on the way to the client. That's basically usually a very good customer experience. But what happens afterwards is what I'm very passionate about together with my team, is basically when you hand over the delivery to the logistics providers, the experience usually of your clients is going down. Why? Because in a lot of cases, there's no communication on the status of their delivery. So when is the parcel actually arriving? Especially also if the parcel is still packed in the warehouse, but even more so when it's handed over to DHL, FedEx, Singapore Post, Ninja Van, or any of the other delivery providers that sometimes have no communication at all about when the parcel is going to arrive, or they have communication, but they're communicating on your behalf. So you cannot control the communication towards your customers, but at the same time, I believe many of you will know that it's usually still the clients calling you, asking you, oh, what's happening, when is the delivery gonna arriving? And that's a very critical part of their experience in working with you that you often don't control. And that's also a very critical part where if delays are arriving that are not your fault, it's very important that you control the communication around this. And that's exactly what we at Perform are doing. We are aggregating all the data of the whereabouts of your parcels, of your pallets, but we are giving you all the tools to make sure that you are in control and you can tell your customers on when their delivery is going to arrive. So why is that important? It's important because, you know, this last very critical part of, you know, the final delivery, the final last mile, is where most of your gains can be made when we talk about customer loyalty and trust. So while you spend a lot of time optimizing your internal processes, we also want to encourage you to optimize that part of the last mile delivery. Also to basically reduce the amount of inquiries you get on the deliveries, and also to have a much higher engagement, but a positive engagement for your brand in the last mile delivery. So what you're seeing here on my slides is how you probably are still updating your customers. You're sending them to a carrier website where they have to kind of understand what the carrier is telling them about their delivery, but it's not in your own brand, and it's often also not even in their language and very hard for them to understand. So what we at Perform are recommending is to use standardized data and to basically update the customers in your branding. And you can do that with 3 of our modules. So we're a cloud-based solution. It's all fully ready. You just have to integrate with us once, and you're ready to go. And one of the key parts here is that you can provide them with your own tracking page. So don't send them to DHL and Ninja Van, but give them your own branded tracking page so they can see your brand on that crucial last mile delivery part, and also send them notifications. This is just an example of how this can actually look like. So we basically provide you with a page that's fully in your own brand environment, with your logo, with your colors, in the preferred wording that your customers like to see. And you can really tell them what's most relevant, which is often, when is my parcel arriving and what is the latest status? But you can of course also include anything that is carrier contact details for them to know who to reach out, or put your own contact details in case you would like them to call you. That's just a few examples that you can see here of customers using us. So if you would order coffee capsules in Singapore, and Nespresso would usually give you a very nice update. The same for Decathlon. If you're currently ordering some sports goods, they deliver them within 2 hours, but they also wanted to make sure that even though it's a short time window, you have a very good experience. They are also using our tracking page. Furthermore, we also encourage you to not just give them a page to look at, but to actually send them proactive notifications. So the customers don't have that silence on the last mile delivery process. And I think what I added here is just a few examples of how this can look like. And you will see that this is very different from your Ninja Van, your Singapore Post emails that you sometimes get, where you don't even know from which parcel this is, which merchants is sending you something. But what we encourage you is to have your own branded experience, like you can see here on the right for one of our customers, Anders Curves, who really update their customer on the status of their delivery, but they do it fully in their brand environment with their own emails in their own layouts. And it helps them to really gain the trust from the clients, even if something is going wrong sometimes. So even if a parcel is late, in our experience, it's extremely helpful for customers' trust to keep them in the loop and inform them even about a delayed delivery. In addition to that, there's 2 additional modules that we are also offering next to the tracking experience, which is the tracking page and the emails. One of them is the tool for customer service. So you internally, your staff can actually see the status of all parcels in a very intuitive overview, which we call the parcel overview. So you see what status is my delivery in, which carrier is delivering it, and what is the latest event, and what's the latest timestamp. So you also internally, and not only your customers, have a very good overview of your whereabouts of your goods, either the ones that are arriving for you to work with them, or the ones that your customers are waiting for. And there's very flexible kind of search opportunities. You can search by the order number instead of just the tracking number to see the updates. So a really smart but very easy way for you to control your logistics. The last part here that I also wanted to highlight, the customers like Decathlon, Love Bonito, and even smaller merchants are working with, is reports. So you might want to know how fast your deliveries are actually going. What is the time that it takes them for them to arrive with your clients? And I think what we are doing, because we have the standardized data, is to give you very good insights on the actual transit times of your deliveries. We can even compare them to the SLA that the carrier has promised you, to really give that control back to you, so you can go to the carrier and say, look, I spend a lot of money on logistics, but I want you to have a very good service and keep your promise. And I'm seeing, instead of the 3-day delivery that you promised me, you actually took 5 days. So you have finally the transparency that you need on your last mile to go back to your customers and negotiate a better deal, and to bring that control back to you, and also control that spend that you have on logistics. Yeah, that's already it from my side. We wanted to just give you a first idea that logistics, next to being a very big hassle and a spend category for you, actually is also an opportunity for you to differentiate your brand, to really kind of give your customers a very good experience, but also to have all the crucial transparency for you internally to work with it, and to have a much better kind of supply chain setup for the future. You can see my contact details here. Please feel free to reach out any point in time. We can give you an example how this can look like for you. We have a free 14-day trial, so you can just for free test our services without any IT efforts. And we would love to support you, like we supported many of the brands that you can see on this page. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to answer any of your questions or get in contact with you.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, for any questions that you may have for Dana, you guys can put in #2 followed by the question in the Q&A box below, and we'll try to answer these questions later during the Q&A. Next up, we have TechVans. It is an automation on high precision workforce asset tracking at anywhere. And we have Olivia Chen, the co-founder, to share with us. So I'll hand over to Olivia now.
Yes, my name is Olivia. Today I will be presenting for TechVans, high precision workforce tracking. So we started in 2017, and it is started in Turkey and focusing on the mining industry. And slowly we expanded to all the different areas. We received about 20 tractions globally, and we gained 3 times revenue growth within the 3 years. We're also recognized by the IMDA. We were the final prize winner in 2018. And we're also in the Singapore Green Link supported by Enterprise SG. And we also enrolled in the construction program, the BIM, supported by BCA, as well as the Pier 71. We are focusing on 2 industries. One is the construction, the other one is the offshore and marine. So the first construction, we are collaborated with the GTC Streets Construction to finish our pilot. We will elaborate more on this. And the second one is the offshore and marine, the pilot project we did with the Keppel Shipyard, GE Fuel Corp, Wolpack, and June Port. So what is the problems? The first problem is that we all know that either is construction or maritime industry, we have tens of workforce. And in single one site, we probably have more than 10,000 workers working there. And we have less than 5,000 engineers managing all of them. So the main job to taking the attendance day by day is by the supervisors themselves. And until now, they're still using a very preliminary tool like WhatsApp to report field attendance. This is not only taking a lot of effort and time, but it is not accurate throughout the time, and due to the manual process. And second, there's a high risk in both construction and maritime industry. So safety is a key in the high-risk working environments. There's hot works, falling in high confined space, and other areas that is very easily that the accident might be happen. And it is so important for us to know where are the people, and if there is any emergency situation, we can help them on time. A third thing is about low productivity, because we do not have we have very limited field data. So the productivity is actually harmed because we do not have anything to analyze. Yes, we do have some manual reported progress update and the hit count and man-hour reporting, but everyone is looking at two or three different sets of data, which is not aligned and the picture is not clear. So everyone deserves to know the single source of truth, that what is the real productivity on ground, and also to know where the people are they at the right place doing the right thing. And of course, one of the main reasons that is harm our project is the rework. That is not only impact the schedule, but also impact the cost. So this is due to the communication between the office and site is not clear, or the subcontractors' work performance is not measured efficiently. And the new problem that occurs only in this year is the COVID-19. We all know that to ensure our workers to start to work safely, we have to comply the regulations that set up a BCA or MPA, that we have to maintain the safety distancing on site at all the time. And we also need a more efficient tool to track in case anyone tested the COVID-19 positive, which are the contact person with them, and what is the risk that has exposed to for the HR purposes. So for type 1s, we solve all this problem in the training industries. Mining industry is something that we did before, and we have already done 17 mines in different countries for the workforce tracking. So let's look at our solution. We are using our IoT hardware to help management to track this workforce on site. So we do have this Bluetooth and LoRa tags that is carried, that is at the right side of the screen, and you can see that. We can put it in the hammer, we can put it in all different kind of form. It's a very small chip. And we use the IoT nodes to place it in different locations to enhance the signal. And we put the LoRa as a gateway at the entrance of the highest point of the location to get all the signals across. And we are able to track in the open areas, sub-meters distances. So this is a detailed picture that you can see how does it looks like. The tags. It can be fully customizable. So we are very customizable based on our clients' requirement. Some clients just want to maintain a very easy to maintain model so that we can set up something, or we can have a high accuracy model or deep coverage model. So this is something that we do during the COVID-19. We already done some tests with our government agencies on some of the sets for domestic workers. So this is an actual setup in one of our POC on site. This is how you see the hardwares, and we're also using solar panel to get the electrical power, that we do not lie the cables around. And if you can see at the right side corner, you can see all the dots was moving. Higher. Oh, the data is in the open area. So this is another setup, with another on-site trial we have done in the shipyard. And you can see this is a fully covered by metal plates, but we are still able to track the detailed location on the workforce moving. And this is in the marina software. And you can see we are using our tracking tool to track all the vessels that are moving, so that we can collect all this data and then for further analysis. So this is a COVID-19 dashboard. So basically,
hi Olivia, you are a little bit soft. We can't really hear you. Do you mind adjusting your mic?
Can you hear me better?
No, it's still a bit soft.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Still very soft.
Is that better?
Slightly better, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is our site deployment to track the vehicles. So we are not only able to track the person, even like a high-speed vehicles, we are able to track that to see where their exact location. And in COVID-19 situation, we are setting the boundaries as a dynamic geofencing that are able to see where are the moving behaviors, and then making sure that all the workers are maintaining safety distancing. The tags, they are varying, they will receive vibration if there is a close distance that's monitored. So this is another dashboard to show the productivity in one of our projects. So this is our team. We founded the company, 3 co-founders. And in total, we have 55 years of industry experience in IoT and big data. So these are some awards that we have, and that's it. If you have any questions, you can let me know, and we are glad to help you to answer any questions after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you so much. We actually, if any questions, do you have any questions for Olivia, please put in the #3 before your question in the Q&A. We actually have one Q&A question, which is actually meant for Parcel Perform. So I think if Dana, you are here, you can take this question. Basically, they're asking is if your service can be integrated to the Xero platforms.
Hi,
Dana,
yes,
are you here? Yeah, okay,
yes,
go ahead.
I am here. Thank you so much for the question. Absolutely. So the good thing about us being a cloud-based service and having a lot of background in integrations is that we are rather flexible. So it depends a little bit on your use case, but happy to confirm that with most of any kind of other SaaS applications such as Xero, Fresh Team, Zendesk, all these kind of things, we can set up an integration and automatically display data and exchange data between these tools.
Thank you, Dana. All right, we don't have any more questions. I'm going to move on to the next 3 companies. The next person that I'd like to introduce is Mr. Patrick Veron. He's the Managing Director of East West Innovative Solutions, your go-to partner for business development in Asia. So I'll hand over to Patrick so he can take over. Patrick?
Hi, good afternoon,
Hi.
Gary. Hey, so sorry you see a kind of empty room behind me. Let me share my slide deck with you. All right, so I think we're good now. So first of all, I'd really like to thank SBF and IMDA for granting us the opportunity to be together this afternoon. I think it's really a pleasure and a privilege to be able to share with you how is it that we can help in those challenging times. So my name is Patrick Veron. I'm the Managing Director and founder of East West Innovative Solutions. I promise I'm no hidden sponsor for the fact that a number of people around here have mentioned innovative solutions previously in this discussion. And the reason was really about that, really for us to bring to Singapore innovative solutions, either inspired from East or West, East essentially being European solutions, West being essentially European solutions, and East being more like Japan and Korean solutions that we can bring to the market and make them deliverable here in Singapore. So for my part, I've been, maybe I don't know whether you see this, maybe I should hide this part. Yeah. For my part, I've been traveling across the world for about 25 years. I've been spending the past 15 years here in Asia, essentially in India and Malaysia, before I set up in Singapore about 10 years ago, just for the Chinese New Year. In Singapore, I've been 3 years as the head of Internet of Things for Cisco. Was not exactly called Internet of Things at the time, but we'll come back to that. And 7 years as the Managing Director of East West Innovative Solution. So I'll share with you about our approach to smart solutions. From my Cisco days across Asia Pacific till now, one of the things is I've tried to really bring to life smart solutions. Not just because I'm smart, because I don't think I am, but the idea was really to bring solutions for what's referred to as smart cities, smart building, smart retail, smart energy, smart manufacturing, smart agriculture, smart transportation, smart infrastructure. All of that covers a lot of different cases, and we'll want to focus on that. So today we'll cover smart health, because I think that's the name of the day, and we'll go through that. So as always, what we do is really this: we want to create smart solutions by enabling and developing business ecosystems. We all know that in the traditional industries, or in the cities, or in the factory, in the buildings, there are a number of assets there, and all of us will want to get visibility on what's going on and get data and get real-time information. That has been made possible through what you can see on the bottom right, which is all the mobile devices and their capabilities, the sensors, IoT sensors, LoRa sensors, Sigfox sensors, 5G sensors, soon 4G. And we all want to do that using applications and with security being the master word there, and has been one of the reasons why IoT probably, at least in my opinion, didn't take off for 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it didn't take off really. So really what we want is to connect those objects through networks, through cloud. I mentioned a few of those solutions, and deliver services, because at the end of the day, what's really important is to connect real life, real industrial problems to solutions, not the other way around, not the solutions kind of pushed towards the real industrial problems. So just a word of illustration here. A little bit earlier, we mentioned about OIP and the possibility to respond to problem statements. I think I'm proud to say that in 2019, EWIS was selected to solve one issues in the smart logistics. Today we'll mention about smart health, but just wanted to illustrate this. Essentially, the problem statement was to understand how to follow containers, how to monitor pallets in not just in a Singapore context, but on transborders, which kind of brought a number of other issues, especially when you have roaming involved, when you have like issues around not having the coverage or having to shift and change networks. So let's now move on to two of the examples that I think are interesting right now in this particular context. I think there's not one single human being on this planet today that has not heard the word COVID. That is the name and the talk of the decade, of the new decade. And I think everybody, one of us, either through our emails or through our readings or through our conversations, we mention and we discuss COVID. So I will want to share with you two of the solutions that we have designed in the recent months that are kind of pertaining to what I think is building resilient businesses. And when it comes to rebound and restart the business, this is what we've had in mind across that. So first of all, the first smart health solution that we'd like to share quickly is about detection. We've all heard, we start to see that in a few of the buildings and the shopping malls in Singapore. We want to be able to detect early high fever. And what we wanted for ourselves is to really leverage the technology, but go one step beyond. Obviously, it's important to be able to detect the temperature, but it's also important to, at the same time, understand and have a camera that really precisely detect who is the person who has high temperature. So this solution has been deployed in a couple of places already. And essentially what it consists of is overlaying a real camera with a thermal camera and bring the software so that you can really get a good understanding of who is the person who is having high fever at a point in time, especially when the person is entering the building. So we've looked for different kind of solutions. You can see on the left-hand side what the controller can see. You can see that in the middle picture as well. So essentially the person enters the building, you can immediately detect whether the person has high temperature or not. We've looked for some solutions that have, detection camera that can deliver some alerts that are kind of suited for multiple kind of environments that can multi-focus. So especially when, for example, people are arriving at the airport, so that you can have like a bunch of people. You can have the distance, so that not only you can see at 10 meters, but you can see at 35, 40 meters, so that you have a much better accuracy in terms of the people, for example, walking towards one particular point. And the other important aspect that we wanted to have is the ability to play back, not just the image, but also the temperature. So essentially what we, and obviously it goes without saying, but it's better said, lower error rate. So we just obviously wanted to get the best solution. The best solution is not necessarily the cheapest solution. The best solution is the one that will deliver the right services. So this solution has already been deployed in a number of countries, in Korea for office towers, public buildings, army, churches, insurance companies, in the USA with kindergartens, in Bahrain as well, in some healthcare centers. I jump quickly into the second smart health solution because the first one was really about the ability to detect. I think beyond detecting and what will really enable us to restart the business the way we were practicing it a few months ago is the ability to test. So essentially what we've been doing here is to look for a solution that is certified, affordable, that doesn't necessarily need for labs close by to deliver and create COVID-free zones. So we've looked for a test that can deliver results quickly. I mentioned 30 minutes here. It can go down to 5 minutes in some circumstances. So there's no need for a lab. So no need to send the samples to a lab for the test to be done so that you don't have any delay. It is very specific to the type of virus that we're trying to detect. Obviously, we could do with some other type of virus, but this one is very preeminent at this point in time. We wanted the real sensitivity. And the most important thing probably is that the 0% negative predictive value. And we also wanted something that enables massive testing. So price point that enables massive testing. And that's also where, so that you will say, okay, that's the health part of it. And yes, this is important and we're willing to get that. The second aspect of it was to really deliver it in a secure manner, right? So we've kind of designed solutions whereby those results can be delivered directly to your smartphone through an application, right? And obviously this is very important because these are sensitive digital data, personal data, and obviously the security of delivering the application was an important part of what we were trying to achieve here. So it is kind of that simple, really. Everyone entering a country, entering a building, coming to the factory in the morning can get tested through nasal or mouth. A trained person can run the test with on-premise PCR machine. No need to send the test to the lab, and that was very important to us. Those test results are securely sent to the person's phone within 15 to 30 minutes, and you will understand why it is important. And then that person can present the test result to security walk-in. So right now we have had very interesting, not in Singapore yet, but in the UK, there's a very large logistics company that, because of the safe distancing and the social distancing, could not have its whole workforce coming to the office or coming to the warehouse every day. So they have kind of decided that they would test each and every single worker each and every single day so that they can deliver the results of their full teams on site and get the result delivered in a GDPR compliant app. So GDPR, for those who are not familiar with it, is the equivalent of PDPA here in Singapore, the Personal Data Protection Act. So essentially, the way it works, very simple. You come to the office or you come at the gate or you arrive at the airport, somebody, some trained persons will make the test. So then that's the way the viral mass swabs are taken from the test kit, and then the results are sent to the personal apps or potentially government's applications. Up to 90 test samples can be done at a time or loaded onto the analyzer. And this is it. You take the test, 15 to 30 minutes, sometimes less, you get the test results delivered to you on your mobile phones. You can show the test results to whoever you want or not. That's the way it works. So other applications, I just mentioned about the opportunity to do that for people arriving at the airport, which could be a way for us to kind of declutter the borders and to kind of safely and securely letting people come into the country. And you can easily imagine that even in Singapore, you come at the airport, you get the test done, and before you reach whatever the hotel or your residence, you get the your test results, and you know what happens to you. So there are a number of applications that are deployed in different places, different countries across the world. Obviously, that's a very, and it's probably the place where we can also start. This is the health services, are to resume them safely and fast. I mentioned about the manufacturing plants, about the warehousing. So essentially they're the same. There's this company in the UK I just mentioned about that is doing exactly that. And then you can also think of the tourism industry, because I think Singapore is kind of suffering right now because we cannot bring in some more tourists. That could be a way to
Patrick,
yeah?
if you can wrap up soon. Yeah, if you can wrap up, we're running out of time.
Absolutely. That's my last slide.
Thank you.
That's my very last slide. So to kind of deliver the results to the end users. So I end up here. Thank you for listening to me and looking forward to engage with you.
Thank you, Patrick. So sorry for interrupting you.
No worries.
Yeah, any questions that you have for Patrick, please key in #4, and then we will try and answer your questions later towards the end of the event. Yeah, I'd like to invite Mr. T.E. Yang. He's the co-founder of Inspections AI. They help to capture clients, help clients to capture, detect, and locate worksite issues and create instant inspection reports. So if I can invite Yi Yang to share, please.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Yi Yang from Inspections AI, and I'm in charge of mainly the tech development in our company. So at Inspections, what we do is we build smart camera systems that can be used for supervision and compliance. And this is mainly applied to the constructions and inspections industry. So the problem that we identified is that oversight is generally very expensive and also ineffective, since most of the time such functions are carried out based on manual labor. And what happens is that every single day, pre-COVID, where there were still sites open, thousands of inspectors manually visit the construction sites, and then they walk about and then they identify various problems with safety and any other issues with the work site. So what happens after that is that they take a long time to generate the reports and also update to the people, to the stakeholders involved. And what we want to do is to reduce the amount of manpower needed and to improve the operations regarding inspections. So some potential problems that we can solve is our workers wearing the correct safety equipment, and then perhaps even regarding whether equipments and materials are placed in the right areas. So this is our exact solution. We will build a smart camera box that can be connected to any kind of existing CCTV system. So the advantage of this is that our clients do not need to install any type of new AI specific cameras. And any existing camera that has a HD resolution will definitely be enough for our solution. So what happens is that the camera feeds will be connected to our smart camera box, and then all this data is aggregated and then sent to our online cloud server, whereby the inferences are created. So these inferences can be instantly updated and sent to the end user, either through a web API or a mobile application such as WhatsApp or Telegram. So in a sense, our clients can make use of the existing CCTV systems and then generate some sort of cost savings or improve productivity. So now we will focus on deploying visual AI as a service. So we are not so much focused on developing and installing the hardware required for our solution. So we split our service into two main components, into building and upgrading. So in the model building phase, we aggregate data and collect the initial training data from our customers. And we use this to build and deploy a model for them. And over time, our model is able to improve, and this can be done for a recurring fee. So here is just more of the technical details about how the deep learning model works. Basically, anytime there is any sort of inference made by our model, then the end user has the ability to confirm or to reject the result. And this allows us to retrain our entire model and then to improve it over time, so that the accuracy and the ability to improve gets better. Okay, now let me talk a bit more about what are our current detection models. So here are some of the pilot clients that we have worked with and we are still working together with. So the first one is quite simple. It's on PPE compliance. So basically just detecting whether workers are wearing their helmets, their vests, and to improve it further, we can even look at whether they are wearing the correct safety gloves and goggles. So perhaps this is not so much of a problem in Singapore, but then in other countries such as Peru, where the miners, they are not so compliant to these safety regulations. So this is a concern for some construction firms over there. So some more complex models are like human behavior. We detect whether there are workers who are smoking in inappropriate areas, or perhaps they are performing a task the wrong way, since there are many standard operating procedures. Okay, another thing we look at is for inspections. So this is something we work on with one of our pilot clients, which is Concord Industries from Singapore. And we are training a model to detect all the various WSH categories. And I think one of them comprises whether the rebar piles of concrete are kept upright or whether they are bent, since usually they have to be bent over after they are installed, to prevent any sort of impalement or to prevent any sort of tripping danger to the workers. So that is something that we look at also. So now we have many additional possibilities. We do not just look at CCTV cameras. We can also consider mobile cameras, since that is something that I'm sure, everybody has a smartphone with a fully functioning camera. And something else we look at is also drone cameras. And in terms of implementation, we can do it either through front-end, back-end, or web-based. Yep. So now here are some of the pilot clients that we work with in the construction sector, which is our main focus for now. We work with Kajima and Concord. And as mentioned before, Concord, we are doing WSH inspections to help them categorize the various type of safety hazards into the different WSH categories. And this will make the inspection processes much more efficient. Whereas for Kajima, we are currently looking at using crane cameras to detect hazards as well on their construction site. So in terms of aerial image detection, we work with GIS companies such as Icaros and MapInfo. So for this, it's just a partnership whereby they provide us a data set of images, and then we process the images and perhaps tell them where are potholes located in the photos, or where are the cracks in the walls, and then just return those processed data back to them. Okay, in general, we also talk to inspections firms like SGS, which is one of the largest firms internationally, and also talking to airlines in some discussions about pilot projects, whereby we look at how we can reduce food wastage on board aircraft. So with respect to the COVID-19 situation, I'm sure that there are many new regulations that are put in place, especially in the construction sector, whereby it is very labor intensive, and it is something that you can't just change it to work from home. Workers still have to be there, present on the site itself to do the work. So what we look at, given the new rules whereby workers have to work in a specific team, and they have to be isolated from each other, and then there are various new safe distancing measures. So we also look at how we can adapt our solution to these new measures, and then help help these businesses to take note of these new regulations and then comply with them at a lower cost. So now here is our team. We have Mr. Roderick, who is our CEO, and he has a lot of experience in managing startups, and he's also a master's has a master's in economics. And then we have Mr. Loh, who is our senior advisor. And we have Mr. Shivang and me, and both of us are mainly in charge of tech development. So thank you everyone for listening, and it was my joy to speak to you.
Hey, thank you, Yang. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. It's my pleasure to invite our last speaker for today, Mr. Wong Hun Shen. He's the CEO of Orimico. He will share with us now on why they provide an intelligent, cost-effective tool that digitalize and automates business processes. So let's invite Hong Shen.
Thank you, Clary. Janice, if you can share the slides. So the background why we actually started this company is to look at digitalization and automation of business processes. I think one of the why we see it actually fitting within a COVID kind of seminar is really the fact that COVID has driven digital transformation in the industry a lot more than what even a lot of the CIOs have managed to achieve over the last few years, right? So we do see a push towards digitalization as people are forced to work remotely from home. That's why we find that it is very suitable at this time to present our solution, which will enable our clients to be able to more effectively work from home using a digital process. So if you move to this next slide, I think the next couple of slides will explain a bit the problem areas that we are trying to focus on. I think one of the first thing that we actually look at is the physical papers. I think a lot of big companies have problems with too much physical paper, and it goes out all the way to the small companies. Of course, for big companies, a lot of them will look at it from an environmental friendliness standpoint, etc. And the savings, the money that they save from not printing paper, the ink savings and all that. But if you look at the COVID situation today, right, even the small and medium-sized companies are facing problems because they cannot get access to their physical documents. The physical documents are in the office while their staff is actually stuck at home. So we actually have a client where we said, hey, let's work on getting you onboarded, and let's go and meet you and get your documents onboarded. And the client said, well, sorry, we are still stuck at home, right? So our documents are still stuck in the office, we are still stuck at home. So that is the type of situation where the physical paper becomes a problem in an environment where there's no clear direction for a back to office. And even after the COVID situation, I don't think that is going to be the case to basically be able to have people all back in the office. Okay, sorry, Janice, if you can move on to the next slide. Okay, then the next slide after that. The other problem that we find is that there's a lot of highly manpower intensive activities which are necessary but do not add any value to the business, right? These are things like expense claims, your expense approvals, your checking of invoices, your investigation of the documents, your financial reporting. It is from a value generating standpoint, not very high value, right? You're not going to get additional clients, you're not going to get additional revenue. But of course, if you don't do it right, you can get fined. So it is something that is necessary, but it's not high value, right? So there are companies who look at OCR robotics, but in general, even for big companies, it becomes very expensive to implement robotics, right? I know of big companies where after implementing robotics, they realize that they have to spend more money on the maintenance. So robotics is not that different from IT system where you have to maintain the IT system going forward, or your people end up doing more and more low value added activities, which are sort of putting manual plasters around your system. Okay, thanks. Then the next slide. So now, the other challenge that a lot of businesses have is that they have existing manpower that they want to upskill, but most of the time you end up that these people start doing data entry, right? Especially when you have financial reporting time and etc. That's where the people need to help out with the data capture, and that's why a lot of the staff just basically do not have free time to take on other more value-added activities. So in order to basically free up this staff for them to be able to upskill, they need to basically look at moving this low value-added activities out. And a lot of the COVID-19 has actually brought the need for the individuals and companies to grow beyond their existing competencies. If you look out in the market, people are being let go, companies are being downsized, right? What happens when the business picks up again? It's going to be worse, right? Your existing staff gets even more stuck into the low value added activities, and you're stuck in a vicious cycle. Okay, next. Now, some companies encounter problems where you have to do peak periods of financial reporting. You even have to go look for temporary manpower, right? You look for interns, you look for temporary data entry clerks, right? This is something where it becomes very problematic. You have to spend focus of the HR person. You need to train the people coming in, and therefore that's why it is something from a manpower capability management. It is very, very difficult for companies to manage. Okay. Now, that's where we come in. In the next slide, we'll show you basically what our solution actually does. It allows us, sorry, Janice, if you can move on to the next slide. What it allows our clients to do, OroVault is a software as a service where our clients are able to scan hard copy or electronic PDFs, send it to our service, and we are able to organize the documents for easy access. Our AI actually automatically extracts the required information, and we do enrichment for downstream feeds, and then we automate the cross-checking of information. So the clients don't need to actually go in and check every single document and whatever's been captured. But when the cross-checking fails, then there might be cases where the client needs to come in and say, oh, maybe the image is not good enough, etc. And therefore they will need to look at the data that's captured. We also allow for direct integration to popular accounting tools. So we have clients now looking at QuickBooks and Xero already. Of course, there are others that we are working on with the bigger ERP systems like Oracle and SAP, where we're looking to help them actually automate their upstream processes so that they can make it a lot more efficient. All right, so that is the concept of how our solution actually addresses the problems brought around by COVID-19, or rather made worse by COVID-19 with the situation around the documents and the manpower need. Now, if you go on to the next slide, how our solution works, as I mentioned, we basically allow the clients to send in the documents by email, and then it gets automatically processed by our service, which learns along the way as it knows more and more invoices, expense receipts, etc. It learns how to interpret this, and then it maps it into the accounting structure from the client's accounting system. Okay, so you're able to also look at the search. So it helps a lot with the investigation, where you're looking at let's say missing entries, where it takes up a lot of management time, right? Imagine if somebody cannot justify why a financial posting looked wrong and cannot find the original document. That's where our tool actually comes in, and it just helps up and frees up a lot of the management time. Now, our solution is unique in the sense that you do not need to actually put in any pre-entry. You don't have to specify anything. The document, it all starts from the document that's actually submitted. So if you go on to the next slide. So we're able to process currently text invoices, receipts, bank statements. We're currently working also on a bill of lading, the shipping type of documents as well, so that we are able to build the entire process for people in the import-export industry as well. So all these are based off the same core engine, and is basically working through our user interface that allows for generic services to be built. Now, if you look at how the service actually changed the processes that people are running today, if you move to the next slide, Janice. Today, for an expense claim, there's a lot of submissions, paper sent to the manager approves, sends it to finance spends a lot of time data entry into the accounting system, right? So if you move to the next slide, with our solution, what happens is that the submission is sent to the manager via our electronic means, and then it's actually auto-validated where possible. So you can set like limits on how much expenses allowed, let's say for meal claims, and then the manager can either set up auto-approval or basically come in to do manual check, and then they feed it to the downstream system so that the finance person actually doesn't need to do any manual entry. So that's how we actually improve the life. Now, if you go on to the next slide, I won't spend too much time in detail, but happy to answer any questions on payables as well. So similar kind of process where you have a payables process, and basically there are checks that are done between the different documents to ensure that everything is okay, and finance just needs to do the manual work, very minimal manual checking. Okay, then I will wrap up, I think, at the end. If you move down 2 slides, how do we all make this work? So we start at $16 per month. You can terminate anytime, and we're able to do greater than 1,000 of documents because we run this as a web service on AWS. Currently, we're processing at less than 3 minutes. Of course, we can make it much faster, but if you look at it, you can throw in 1,000 documents in less than 3 minutes. We are more or less done. There's no steep learning curve. The UI is very, very user-friendly. You don't need to start worrying about where you need to click, but basically you just upload the documents and then it kicks off the entire process. It's a cloud-based platform, so there's no additional maintenance fee, so it's very, very easy to set up. You can actually link it to your QBO, just QuickBooks Online or the Xero platform already, and then you're already up and running, right? So if you move on to the next slide, finally, we are a Singaporean team. So the team is here to work with our clients to make sure that they are able to achieve the efficiencies from this new service, to make sure that they are able to achieve the cost effectiveness. And that's where, and we are currently incubated under IMDA in the Pixel laboratories. Okay. With that, I conclude, and thank you very much for your time today. I hope that everybody stays safe and consider us to help save some trees and keep the digital economy growing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Hoshan. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Since we are over our time to end, I will just do a quick closing. If you have any questions to reach out to our speakers, you can still do so after the event. Thank you for joining us today. We see the QR code on screen. Can we put the QR code up, please? Yeah, you can scan the QR code right now. You'll be able to access our feedback form. In the feedback form, we will also ask you which of the speakers you'd like to reach out to, and we will be able to connect you with them later. Yeah, please let us know in the feedback form. We'll also send a link to you after the event. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you will join us in your technology journey by implementing some of these services to your businesses. And this session will be recorded. It will be placed up on the Pixel YouTube channel, and you can view the whole session again after. We hope to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful day ahead and a good weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.